And welcome to Athletes Village, Gopher fans. We're here in the women's basketball suite. I'm Justin Gaard from Gopher Radio and KFAN Radio, and I'm here with the 13th head basketball coach for Gopher women's basketball, Dawn Plitzuweit. Welcome to town.
Thank you. Really excited to be here.
Now, everybody that listens to my show on the radio knows I'm bad with math, but I have you 72 hours ago, about from right now, coaching in the NCAA tournament, College Park, Maryland, West Virginia against Arizona. Now you're here in Minneapolis. Seems like quite a whirlwind. What's the weekend been like?
Certainly put all of our time and effort and energy in preparing for the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, bow out in the first round of the tournament to Arizona, get back home, get a phone call from Mark Coyle, talk to him and been officially offered the position here, tell him I need at least a night to think about it and to pray about it and talk to our family, immediate family about it. And so did that, got up the next morning, so Saturday morning, and said, we're all in. We'd love to make Minnesota our home. And next thing you know, it was just a process of the first part of saying goodbye, and that's really challenging and that's hard. And then pack a bag and get on a plane and let's go and let's get here. So from then on, it's been a lot of meeting some really important people who are here, and first and foremost, the most important people are the players in the program. And so that was the first thing that I was able to do when we got here and to connect with them.
I'm sure a year ago you didn't think you'd be here in Minneapolis. It would take a special opportunity to have you move your husband, move the family again. I know your kids are older, so you're not dealing with that necessarily. But why was Minnesota the right opportunity for you?
What a great question. Yeah, I think first and foremost, the University of Minnesota is a great academic institution. We're in the Big Ten, certainly the best conference in the country. We have an opportunity to do something really, really special. And why? Because we have an opportunity to recruit right out of our backyard. There's incredible talent right here within our state, and then we love to keep those ladies at home. There's incredible talent within our region as well. So certainly excited about building those connections, or for me, I've had a chance to recruit in this area for a great part of my coaching career, reconnect with a lot of the coaches and the young ladies. On top of that, I think we have a great fan base. And we saw during the Big Ten tournament how excited people in this community were to come out and support. And so we set an attendance record, which was really pretty special. On top of all of that, this is home. We're close to family for us, and it's really a special opportunity, and we're excited about it.
You mentioned the familiarity with the region, spending so much time in South Dakota, great success there in the Summit League before moving on. So how familiar are you with the players on this team? I have to imagine you've seen quite a few of them. A lot of them happen to be from Minnesota. So what have you learned about them, or how familiar were you with them?
I've had a chance to see a lot of these young ladies play quite a bit during their high school careers and during their AAU careers, and we tried to recruit them to the University of South Dakota, but obviously that didn't really go in our favor there, but certainly has worked out great. I believe that we have a great deal of talented, competitive, hungry young ladies within this program. After meeting them on Saturday, I also got to realize what great personalities we have and how much they really care about each other, which is really important. So that helps us certainly to have that close-knit group already to continue to build upon that.
And what did it mean to you to walk into Athletes Village for the first time, see on the whiteboard the freshmen, I think they called themselves the Freshies.
The Freshies, yeah.
They'll be sophomores soon enough, but to already say, hey, we're here, we're ready to work, let's do this thing. What did that mean?
Well, it's incredible. It's fun when your players are excited about stepping into the next step. Transition's hard, change is hard. My husband and I have two kids who play in college. Our son has gone through a coaching transition. So I understand it's not necessarily what they signed up for. And for them to say, you know what, we're good, let's go, let's get to work. And their question was, when do we start? Yeah. So I love that aspect of it.
So a little bit more about you. I've got some words that people over the last few days have described you as. We're going to get to those in a minute, so I'm going to let you ruminate on that, think about that. But you've said before that the 2006 season where you won the national championship at Grand Valley State, you said that year I may have learned more about coaching or more about myself than any other year. I'm curious if I read that correctly, first of all, and why that was the case.
Well, that was the case for me because that group was expected to do really well. We had everyone returning from a team that had won the conference, had gone on to the Elite Eight. So in Division II, it's an Elite Eight versus a Final Four. You have to win 3 games in 4 days. We got bounced in the first round of the Elite Eight the year before. And those young ladies were expected to do really well. And so from there, our expectations within our program really grew. And so we tried to find a way to to help our young ladies work through all of that. And so that became the beginning of our team expectations. And expectation number one is to be your best. And so for our young ladies, we're expecting their best effort in everything that they do. We expect their best effort in the classroom, on the basketball court, in the community and community service, and as a teammate. Expectation number two for us is to be thankful. You know, we want our young ladies to be really hungry, to want to do really well, but also do it with a very humble heart at the same time. And then expectation three for us is to enjoy the precious present. And for that team, I thought it was really important that they really focused on the here and now, because there was a lot of noise about what was supposed to take place. You know, I think now in this day and age, I really believe that college-age student athletes, college-age people, but student athletes that we work with are under more stress and pressure than ever before. And so how do we help them try to reduce that to the best of their ability? It's to focus on what's happening at the current moment, you know, and what brings joy in that moment rather than what happened in the past or what's coming up in the future.
So the words that were just people described your program and your personality as, I had to write them down because there's some pretty good ones. But the word that came through and through over and over was toughness. Mm-hmm. Accurate?
It is. That's one of our three building blocks within our program. The very first one is toughness.
And what does that mean?
Great. What is toughness characterized by? It can look like defensive intensity and finishing plays and rebounding and taking charges. You know, but for us, toughness is also doing the little things really well. Sharing the basketball, taking care of the basketball. Everybody wants to play fast. We're going to play fast. How do you play fast? You play fast when you get stops, right? But you also want to take care of the basketball, because when you play fast and you're throwing it all over the place, that's not very efficient or effective either. So toughness for us is also doing the little things really well.
5 straight years, I think, South Dakota led the Summit League in scoring defense. I think you also had the Defensive Player of the Year in the league, most of those years, if not all. So how do you get that done?
Well, it's not necessarily what we're going to work on in day one. So not to think we're going to start in closeout drills, but maybe we will. I don't know.
Why not? No basketballs. Just leave them in the locker.
We're not quite doing that. I think it's a matter of understanding how we want to do things. We spend a lot of time in trying to analyze our opponent and figure out what their strengths are and how do we minimize their strengths to the best of our ability. So we do a lot of that in film. We do a lot of that in finish the play drills. My very first head coaching job at Grand Valley State, the athletic director at the time, Tim Selgo, came into our first practice and he said, "Hey, Dawn, you know you don't have all the lights on." I'm like, "Well, we don't need lights. We're rebounding right now. It's going to be okay." But we learned how to turn the game lights on after that point in time. But finishing plays, I think, even when things aren't exactly what you thought they'd be. You know, you expect the ball to go from player one to player two, but all of a sudden it gets deflected and now you have to tip it, save it, keep it alive, and then all of a sudden someone's putting it in the basket and you're like, well, it's not exactly how we drew it up, but we found a way to be successful, and for us that's in finishing plays.
You've been described as a film junkie.
That's accurate.
Accurate?
That's very accurate.
And has that always been the case? Were you watching film when you were 12, 13 years old? Take us through that.
Yeah, no, not actually. I actually wasn't really planning on being a college coach. I thought I'd be maybe a 6th or 7th grade coach. I thought I'd be, I first started thinking I was going to be a kindergarten teacher. Then I thought I'd be a high school math and biology teacher and maybe coach 6th grade. I don't know why I picked that random year, but I did. And then after college, it was an opportunity that was presented to me, and 28 years later, love it and I'm passionate about it and still doing it. So when did it really start for me in watching film was probably, I worked under Kevin Borseth at Michigan Tech, and that's who he was. He'd be the guy on the bus, okay, and he had that little TV, and he'd stand up and hit fast forward, rewind, or he'd have, remember those big cameras? Oh, yeah. And he'd be looking in that little hole to see that little camera lens to see what was going on in film. So I really learned from him how to watch film. And then kind of just kept carrying it on to the days of traveling with multiple VCRs and doing those type of things, to now everything's on one little computer, so it's a lot easier.
Well, and all of it speaks to preparation, right? And that was another word that was described when talking about your teams and your career, was that they're not going to lose because they weren't prepared.
Well, I think it gives your players a lot of confidence when they know what other teams, you expect other teams to do, or players, what their tendencies are, and then you put them in situations to be ready for that. What does it look like defensively? What do they throw at you? Why is their defense different than other teams' defenses? And how do you attack that? And when you attack it this certain way, what do they normally do? But at the same time, you can't predict all those things. And one of the things that I think our programs over time have done is develop players into as complete players as they can be. So their growth, they just keep getting better. And why? Because we put them in drills to make decisions a lot of times on the offensive or the defensive end.
Last one of your former players said you push to the limits, but you're also right there with a pat on the back, and the players always know that you're in their corner. What's that needle like to thread?
Well, I think it's important that our young ladies, that I have an opportunity to really develop an authentic relationship with them and understand what is really important to them, and then help them get to that point in time. And so we do a lot in our practices with numbers. And so there's a competition aspect in almost every single one of our drills. And so we're pushing them to be their very best. So again, there's that expectation, number one, be your best. And we're going to give you what that looks like. And then you have to find a way, there's that other term, to get to that point in time. And so, but I also think this, I really believe that players' confidence is really important. And so when they are in those situations and they get to that point, if the number is 4 out of 9 or 5 out of 9 or whatever the number is, and they get that, they develop a level of confidence with it too. And so it becomes a lot of fun. It becomes a great deal of fun to watch young ladies grow and progress in their development on and off the court.
Last thing for you, we talked about the last 72 hours and the whirlwind that is. Now you've got the press conference today, different media obligations. So what's next now? Now that you, I guess, have 2 feet on the ground here in Minneapolis, probably drinking out of a fire hose, what does the next few weeks look like for the Gopher program?
Well, it's important for us right now to focus on the young ladies who are here, and I had a chance to do that on day one. And so after we get through this day of all the media obligations, which is important. And why is it important? Because it tells the story of how we want to build the program, how we want to keep the best players in our area and in our state to the best of our ability. We understand, obviously, everybody, it has to be the right fit. But this is an important day for us too. It's an important day for our fans to understand how important they are to us. This is not the people in this locker room only that build this program. It takes so many people. So today is an important day for our program. Tomorrow we begin working out together. That's a really important day in our program. And then we continue on with that. So when the players ask me how many days or when I'm gonna be here, I'm like, I'm here. Yeah, I'll go buy more clothes if we have to. It doesn't really matter. Like, I'm here now. And so at some point in time, yes, try to get back in and finish up kind of moving things here and there. But the reality is this is home. And so it's home literally, figuratively, in every single way, shape, and form. And so really excited to really continue to grow. And what does that look like every day? Again, I think for us, you talk about the preparedness, every moment matters. And so doing the little things really well. And so instead of rushing to do them, we're going to take our time and really try to build this and build our young ladies so that they understand why we're doing the things that we're doing. And it's going to be a lot of fun with them.
Wonderful to meet you. Welcome home. And unfortunately for you, we'll be doing this a lot in the coming months and hopefully the coming years as well.
It's been great. Thank you.
Dawn Plitzuweit, 13th head basketball coach here on the women's basketball side at the University of Minnesota.